there weren't exactly any Christmas miracles for the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Denver Broncos, but we also got more than a stocking full of coal, and I think that counts for something. Now the question was, who was naughty and who was nice? Weird games. Joshua Brisco here with two naughty boys, Seth Keysor and Nate Taylor. Fellas, how was your Christmas?
Go ahead.
Mid-season form.
5 years. No, 8 years. 7 years. I've been letting Nate talk first. And then for no reason whatsoever today, I'm like, you know what?
I gotta go.
Want me to talk first.
I said Christmas, and Seth was like, my turn.
Yeah. No, Nate, you please.
Nate, happy holidays. Seth will calm down.
Yeah. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. No, it was a good day. It was great. I think we actually learned something, unlike Sunday, when I don't think we learned anything. Memorable Christmas. Santa Claus did a great job. He once again will get his contract renewed in my house, and can't complain, fellas.
The Keysor family Christmas was amazing. The Eads family Christmas was amazing. Jazz and I are very blessed that we have family. Her side of the family and my side of the family are all within an hour and 20-minute drive. So we get to just, enjoy it with everyone. My dad wasn't with us because he was with my grandmother out in Montana after my grandfather passing away last month, but he joined us via Zoom. So I'm thankful for modern, technology that you can do or FaceTime call, whatever he was doing. We in the Keysor household, we have a tradition that we started, it was like 35 years ago now, where at Christmas time, we all have eggnog. And it's the one time a year we drink. No, I'm kidding. We all pass around.
And I would have said something. I had a mouthful of coffee there, and we almost had to stop the show. You almost had a two-man weave for a little while I took coffee out of my keyboard keys.
But that would have been Josh's that's it. I'm coming to the Keysor family Christmas.
We all get every Christmas. We get around the kitchen table and we just pass around a carton of cigarettes. Even the kids, everybody gets one.
So we all have eggnog or sparkling water or whatever, and we go around the room and say something that we're thankful for from the previous year. Which it's like, Seth, that's not Thanksgiving. It's like, yeah, I know, I don't know, but it started when it was just myself and my two sisters and my parents, because I was 5 or 6, and now it's grown, and there's 25 people in the room, and Tucker's girlfriend was there this time, and she got it was so funny because he hadn't warned her that we do this, and so I was talking to him hey, you let her know we do this, right? Because it's pretty real. It gets pretty real. The men all cry, a lot of the women cry, the children sometimes cry. It's because there's something about being thankful that really, I don't know, brings out the waterworks apparently. And I was like, Tucker, did you warn her about this? He was like,
no.
Because that's the motto of a 19-year-old.
Unscouted looks. You got to see what happens.
There was a lot of.
How can you read and react, ma'am?
Yeah, a lot of. I'm sure there was a lot of intentionality to him not telling her about this. Real playing chess here.
Seth is Brian Flores, hands on his knees, just sending hell.
Yeah. So I go up to her. I'm like,
you better get emotional. You better get honest.
So every Christmas we kind of have a tradition I think you should know about. And I see her eyes start to get huge. I'm like, oh man. So so what we do is we handle poisonous snakes, and we make sure. And it says something about
but they don't bite, because they don't bite you when you're fully nude. So anyway, our family every year.
And so then I let her know what we did, and she did a great job. My son Lucas spilled a giant cup of eggnog right as she was doing hers. And the running joke, my brother-in-law Jason goes, "How much did you pay Lucas to do that?" So it was a great Christmas. Got great presents. Got candy from South Korea, and it was great. But to bring it all around, I'm thankful for you guys And I'm thankful for this podcast. I'm thankful for our voyeurs and our eavesdroppers. And I'm also thankful for watching weirdly stress-free football. I've decided to there's good news and bad news with the Chiefs being eliminated from playoff contention, mostly bad. But someone pointed out to me earlier this week that the way we choose to view things is often going to color how we remember them, even though it doesn't change what they actually are. So the good news is I got to watch football with no stress whatsoever. And so normally, with some weird play happen at the end or whatever, I'd be living and dying on it. This was like, that was it. The Chiefs have improved their draft position. I'm thankful for stress-free football. And mostly I'm thankful for getting a really great close look at the young and up-and-coming guys on the roster who assuredly got many playing time. I'm not sure why I forgot the King's English while I was talking. But I'm just excited to break down the undoubtedly 15 touches. The only running back under contract next year must have gotten against the Broncos.
I'm gonna save some of those numbers for our second topic where it says still room for more. Just because Seth, I don't want to tell you the snap counts yet because I don't think you've seen them. And so Nate, don't spoil the snap counts yet. But you probably did notice that Brashard Smith has now gone 2 meaningless football games in a row without a carry, which certainly is a way of developing your young running back. But they're stupid. But you know what I got for Christmas? Do you know what I got for Christmas? You know what was under the tree when I opened it up? I waited last night, and I got some great gifts. I got some things that I was really excited about that I wanted. I got some things I didn't know that I wanted, but nothing surprised me more than 71 crisp defensive snaps for Christian Fulton. Fellas, it only took 17 weeks, but Brett Veach has been vindicated. The contract is good. Christian Fulton is back. CB1 in 2026. Nate, your thoughts?
I straight up asked this man to his face in the locker room, hey man, that feels like the best game you've had this season. Can you confirm that for us? And why now? Was basically my question. And why now? And basically Christian Fulton was like, I guess the coaches realize I'm still alive. Cool. Glad I can show them that I still am a professional athlete. Now, I don't know how many setbacks he had this season. Training camp was a disaster for him, as we all know. They did trot him out for a few snaps against the Broncos, coming off the bye week, and they realized, maybe he's still not healthy, I guess, or maybe things are, game going real fast for a 5-year veteran. But he basically threw the coaching staff under the bus in the most nice professional manner whatsoever.
He played well. And those 71 snaps, he played 75 snaps this season before the Christmas game. He played 46 snaps against the Titans, understandable because they've been running out of corners. But you run out of enough corners, and we will get to the guys who didn't play as much. But Noah Williams also got 72 defensive snaps. I think that's 100% of the defensive snaps, all but one there for Fulton. Kind of fun. I mean, obviously Noah Williams is a long-term part of what the defense is going to be planning around. Christian Fulton right now is something that Jalen Watson isn't, under contract for next year. So I don't know. I think that's noteworthy. Seth, what did you ask Santa for to get a good Christian Fulton game? I don't know what the magic words were, but they were pretty fun.
I've been asking Santa for years. I mean, if he wasn't a godless pagan tradition, but I've been asking for years.
No Saint Nicholas in that house.
That hurt. That really hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to say where they get. You know what? There's a joke there somewhere that I'm actually going to pass by. So anyway, celebrating the exact day and date of Jesus Christ of Nazareth's birth on December 25th. Yes,
exactly. 2025 years ago.
Yeah,
come from the east, thousands of miles within 24 hours.
Yeah,
the shepherds were undoubtedly growing men. We know for a fact there were 3 of them. It was undoubtedly a building and not a cave.
Yeah, it was. Yes, there was. It was sort of a gazebo, I think.
Mm-hmm. Was there a midwife involved? Who knows? You know,
probably a doula. Let's not get crazy here. Anyway, the thing I've wanted for years is a Chiefs cornerback who can cover Cortland Sutton. Because even like Trent McDuffie and even Snead, when he was in like his heyday, 23, when I played at such a high level, Sutton has given the Chiefs so many problems. Turns out all they needed was Christian Fulton. Like, who knew?
Maybe that's why they signed him in the offseason.
Well, man, let me tell you, that is a slow play. That is some patience from the coaching staff. Like, I mean, you know what they'll never see coming. He didn't play particularly well against Tennessee. He hasn't played well in limited snaps. That said, I mean, you're throwing a guy in cold. It was nice to see the things that we've seen from him, or that I saw on his film with the Chargers, which is a physical guy, really physical guy at the catch point, has an understanding of where to contest the ball, where to be in zone looks, and really comfortable playing press. It's like, that guy, like the guy we saw against Denver looked like the guy that I saw on film against the Chargers, who looked like a guy who could genuinely compete with Watson to be CB2. And that was like the idea going in. It's like, yeah, you'll have two good boundary corners, and then you'll have McDuffie play 100% of the snaps, but like 70% of the time he'll slide inside. The Chiefs took a different approach this year. Yeah, which wasn't good for them or McDuffie, by the way.
Correct.
Because one thing that we've now seen, which I was always curious about it, whether or not in smaller doses, he looked like an elite boundary corner. This year, being asked to do it constantly, it's like, no, he's good, but not nearly as good as he is in the slot, which they're going to have some conversations. My guess is they don't get an extension done this offseason because of it, because he's going to ask for Patrick Surtain money. And one thing we learned this season, which I loved McDuffie. I think Trent McDuffie is good enough to be a foundational player on any defense. However, if you can't quite, and he can do some things well that Patrick Surtain can't do. He's a better blitzer, better tackler, but those aren't the things that make you the top of the market money.
Right.
Being able to shadow any receiver anywhere on the field and win pretty much all the time is what gets you top of the market corner money.
It would help if you had, the ability to turn the ball over too, which
ball skills.
Yeah, exactly. His ball skills are limited as well. So
yeah, and that's the thing. That's good. That's going to create a problem for them. What do you do with a guy who's elite at everything but one thing? But that one thing happens to be pretty important. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Well, the beautiful thing is we've in terms of McDuffie, we've seen him play on the outside against Jamar Chase and like live to like tell the tale, which is always like the high point. I thought of his career was like, hey, Joe Burrow was on the field, Jamar Chase was on the outside, and you literally gave up nothing. You actually got inside that man's head in a way that was highly unusual at the time. What is fascinating to me, based on everything you just said, Seth, is yes, McDuffie is definitely your most tradable asset in the offseason. You do have Noah Williams for next season. Technically, Josh, I guess Christian Fulton's under contract with a more healthier offseason with the chance to I don't know if you want to reduce some of that salary or whatever the cap hit could be. I guess you could have.
I'll tell you, I got it over here.
You can't restructure a guy that you wouldn't play this year. You can't do that.
And so it's why it's really interesting. I just pulled up a Spot Track page because I do think this is the first time we have even had the thought all year. Well, maybe Christian Fulton is around next season, and it's a toughie. This is a real 2-year, $20 million contract that the Chiefs gave him because $15 million of it was guaranteed at signing.
Right.
So according to Spot Track, he's got the $3 million prorated signing bonus. That money is spent. It's just on the cap already. And then Spot Track has him with $5 million of that 2026 salary already guaranteed. So it's a $13 million cap hit for Christian Fulton next year as things stand right now. And if they cut him
you a check
if they cut him, it would be $8 million in dead cap anyway. So they're talking about a $5 million savings by cutting him entirely. And then maybe there is something there of like, hey, can we bring down that base salary get rid of some of the non-guaranteed money and throw some incentives in there or whatever? But also he could say, no, I'll take the guaranteed money and make some other team. I'll go back to the Chargers and ask if they want to pay me $5 million to play for them this year, and I'll have the same deal I would have had with you guys. So it'll be an off-season thing to talk through more, but it's an interesting contract.
Right, which is why no one was willing to take that at the trade deadline.
Right.
In the actuality that, like, is he like fully healthy yet? Which it was interesting that Andy Reid said he's fully healthy after last night's game.
Yeah.
I really sort of I listened to him and I sort of turned my head and I was like, you're actually acknowledging this right now without anybody really asking you. So Andy Reid believes that like he's fully healthy now, or at least healthy enough to be in good football shape, I guess is what he was saying. Like he needed Sunday's game against Tennessee to be ready to like, play better at his, I guess full capabilities, against the Broncos. The other thing I would say this too is, Seth, you said the coaching staff made an interesting choice, and boy, did it not work out. Last night they did it again, kids, where they had Shamari Connor play in the slot, because who knows if there's anyone else who could play the slot. I guess I could have tried Kevin Knowles.
Well, he can't either, so I don't know why it's... You know what? That's not fair.
That's not fair.
Connor has taken a lot of grief this year. It's not. This would be like giving. Let's like if they move Drew Tranquil to defensive end, and like, man, he's not good at defensive end. Well,
yeah. No,
235-pound Will linebacker.
So what was interesting is that you actually saw Sean Payton make little tweaks and adjustments, and he adjusted the sliders mid-game, kids, where he said, I'm not even going to try Christian Fulton. That Noah Williams kid looks like a demon out there. So where's 27 and where's 32? And that's basically how they matriculated the ball down the field in the second half, which I think is a good sign about your two replacement corners. But the fact is they still don't have a nickel defender not named Trent McDuffie that they can look for next year if Trent McDuffie is not on the roster. And so they had the right solution. They just chose, and again, this is criticism that Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt need to get. They chose not to play their best 5 to 6 guys in the secondary at their proper positions. And that is one of the reasons why the Chiefs could not get off the field on 3rd and long at times, because there were holes in the secondary. And obviously we've talked about it before, but there was obviously lacking pass rush alongside Chris Jones.
We ought to have that 32 conversation at some point. We put a pin in that for later. I don't know if we'll get to it all today, but some interesting things to figure out in terms of...
32 had an amazing first half, and then he kind of came back to reality in the second half.
Yeah, I can't wait to relitigate this football player again for another 3 months when everyone, I don't know, whatever. Speaking of completely known quantities, we don't need to see anything else from Jeffrey Bassa and Brashard Smith. Go ahead and get them healthy for 2020. I'm just needling Seth. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back and we'll talk about the rest of the rookie class.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home, because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise, because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day. The tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New Missouri customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KCSN. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Let's talk about a few young Chiefs players who did not get a particularly increased workload on Christmas night. You might have thought, oh, well, Brashard Smith had 3 receptions, including his first NFL touchdown, which is also the first passing touchdown for Chris Oladokun. Fun memory, fun moment, fun play. Good for both of the young guys there. Nate might know already, so Seth, I'm going to ask you, with 3 receptions for 5 yards and a touchdown, how many offensive snaps do you think Brashard Smith played on Christmas?
Well, when you think about, that level of volume, usually you got to be on the field for at least, 7 to 10 snaps to see a target at the running back position. So I'm going to go, low end of, I'm going to say 21.
What if you cut that in half?
Okay. So 10 or 11 snaps. Okay. Yeah. I'm not thrilled with that.
No, we're going to go ahead and cut that in half again. A little bit better than that. 6 offensive snaps for Brashard Smith. He caught passes on half of the plays he was on the field. He was targeted 4 times, in fact, in his 6 offensive snaps.
You're so unserious.
Isaiah Pacheco had 15 offensive snaps. Kareem Hunt had 24. 43 offensive snaps on the day. Yeah, Kareem Hunt played 56% of the offensive snaps. Brashard Smith played 14%.
You know what frustrates me about that the most is they could use Kareem Hunt next year.
If he's alive.
You offer Kareem Hunt $1 million or $1.5 million to be an elite short yardage guy.
Yeah,
there's value in that. You
got to keep him limber. I mean, you don't want him to get rusty,
right? It's a long off season, Seth.
You could use Kareem Hunt next year. He should be their 3rd running back who gets 5 to 8 touches a game because he's an awesome short yardage back. There's value in that. And he's a guy you can trust on 3rd down because he knows the protections and is a willing and able pass block. There's value in that. You could use him next year. Those are 24 snaps that do nothing. And it's he's got so much wear obviously on him. I wonder if he's has anyone ever talked to Kareem Hunt about boundary setting? Coach, no. I'm telling you firmly, but politely, no, I won't do that. I don't think that's how that works.
I can't. Oh, go ahead.
But if you're going to not, you know what? I can't even get that mad about that. I kind of buried the lead in my own anger. Brashard Smith, 5 snaps, you're telling me. With 4 of them he was targeted on?
Yes, correct. Brashard Smith, 6 snaps, 4 targets. Brashard Smith in the 4th quarter of the original Raiders game, the blowout Chiefs win, Gardner Minshew literally just went out there and handed the ball off for the 4th quarter. Brashard Smith got 14 carries in that game, a game that was salted away, by and large meaningless. The victory was secured. He had 14 carries in that game. Since then, remember how long ago that game feels? Doesn't that game feel like when the Chiefs were dominant and coasting to the playoffs? He had 14 carries that day.
Mahomes was like leading in MVP odds.
Yep. Brashard Smith had 14 carries that day. He has 10 since.
And all of them look the same too. They're all where he's lined up a little bit offset to where, and then they pitch the ball to him. Like it all looks the same. It's like
rushing attempts by game here since the Raiders game, 3-3-0-1-0-1-2-0-0. In 2 games, eliminated from playoff contention, Brashard Smith got 0 carries.
Well, it would be different if he showed like a ton more burst than any other runners they had on the roster or the ability to break tackles.
Good point, Seth. Nice to see him get out there on special teams too, where he's clearly the best returner they've had all year.
Right. I don't even know at this point, and it becomes so easy to just start piling on because once you look for something, you're almost certainly going to find it.
Unless you're looking for Brashard Smith carries, in which case you will not find those.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
We generally watch these games with a lot of confirmation bias, and I get that. But so it's so easy to pile on, but it's so mystifying to me. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Are they not curious? Do they not want to know? Like, I'm just curious. I just want to know.
That's the problem. It's like you can't say you're going to develop and then actively choose not to develop. And I can't remember who said this on Twitter, but I wish I could give them credit. But it's one of those things where the message was, that was one of the most ethical tank jobs we've ever seen. And part of why it's ethical is good for you, son. You got your first touchdown. How about we not give you the ball ever again?
And think about how upset the NFL is going to be to find out they've been tanking for Brashard Smith since week 1.
Yeah.
Right.
What
is that?
Is that what this season is? There are times, and this is obviously not. There are moments where I'm like, did Andy see the team in preseason and was like, I don't think we got
this ain't it. Yeah.
I don't think we got it this year, fellas. And the problem is Mahomes is so good and such a psychopath that he couldn't tell him. And so Mahomes is out here playing on a clearly bad knee. He's Paul Walker in Varsity Blues. He's clearly playing on a bad knee. And throwing his body into. Do you remember that first touchdown run against the Chargers? He's throwing himself into. And meanwhile, Andy and Spags are on the sideline, do you think we should tell him?
Should we tell him? We're not. I mean, it'd be nice if we won, but we're not trying.
Yeah, that's because that's the thing. And then, you never chalk up to one thing what can be labeled for another. But I just don't understand so many things about what they're doing. I don't, and I'm not the end all be all.
We can clear some things up for you, Seth. Nate, let me just real quick. Jalen Royals got the start. Jalen Royals was out there with the starting lineup, correct? You can confirm this, reporter ESPN Nate Taylor.
Yes, my own eyes saw it and was tickled. I was like, "Ooh,
wow, Jalen Royals game."
Yeah, get a shot, and maybe he'll be terrible.
And
who knows?
And there was some.
You know how many snaps he played after the opening one?
There was some
4 more. 5 snaps for Jalen Royals. He has still not been targeted yet this year, which is fine, I guess.
No, it's not fine because I thought
far be it. No, it's fine. Everything's fine.
If there was any receiver that your starting quarterback should have a relationship with, should have a connection, a chemistry.
It should be the scout team wide receiver they drafted. Yeah,
team wide receiver rookie.
Yeah,
I just love that. They were finally running some genuine read option and also running the ball from under center more. I'm like, oh, now that the opponent knows it's coming for sure, this is the time.
Spam it.
Let's dial it up, guys. I don't understand. I don't, and look, Brashard Smith wouldn't have saved the Chiefs season. He's got polishing to do. I don't think he'll ever be a full-time NFL running back, but it's they're like doing silly things. Like, it's like, oh, we're going to run, an outside zone. It's like, you don't think he knows how to run outside zone, something that high schoolers do?
Nope.
Like, you don't think he knows, okay, you push the edge, and if it's not there, you're reading one defender, and then you cut back. And yes, the cutback can be complicated because there's multiple, like, look for helmets to flash. I didn't play football, and I know this. You're telling me Brashard Smith doesn't know how to do this?
Hey, but why don't we run an intricate third down, like very creative, honestly, like kind of Texas route screen, where if Kingsley Suamataia blocks, if he gets his block, I think it's a first down for Brashard Smith, who we've already seen in the game break multiple tackles near the goal line. So I again, to your point, Seth, they ran a very intricate screen that is hard to see like pre-snap on tape, and they're like, you want us to hand him the ball?
Whoa. I mean, it's not like he shows the ability to, pick through guys in open space. If only there was some sample size of him having the ball in space and needing to sift through moving blockers. If only. However, and this is, again, he wasn't going to save the Chiefs season. This is, it's a mountain out of a molehill in some ways, but it's also like when you have a bunch of molehills, it's really hard to walk, man. Like, I wouldn't care about all these molehills if I hadn't shattered my ankle stepping in one. Like, this
boy, Seth, this is an excellent analogy because speaking of bad ankles and molehills, Xavier Worthy's out there, and I, for years, like all year last year, was like, look, some of those are on Mahomes and some of those are on Worthy, and the spatial awareness has some work to do, but let's see it in year 2. Xavier Worthy and his relationship to the sideline still complicated. And just at the receiver position, Juju not under contract next year, 35 snaps. Worthy injured and just not. We need to sim the rest of the season. I don't know, man. Let's try this again next year with it. Hey, not legitimately, not trying to dunk on anybody. Let's try it with a different wide receivers coach, or send him to a wide receiver camp somewhere and figure. If you can't figure out how to use Xavier Worthy, man, like what are we doing? Why did you trade up and draft him in the first round? Hollywood Brown not under contract next year, 26 snaps. Also good to see Jared Wiley. Obviously he's been a healthy scratch much of the year. He had the major ACL injury to recover from. Good to see him out there for 5 snaps to go ahead and knock the rust off, see what he can do. That's not a Travis Kelce thing for me, by the way, who played all but 1 snap. Kelce can do whatever he wants. We'll talk about him in a second.
If you, let me just tell you, if you ever wanted like a decent sign that this is probably
42 of 43 snaps at Arrowhead. Yeah. Well, I want to get your wiggles out on everybody else who didn't see the field enough here. We'll come back to Kelce.
Can I say something real quick?
Not about Travis Kelce.
Not about Travis Kelce.
Okay, then yes.
I have given this man a lot of credit for a season that was really affected in Sao Paulo. When I thought he had a very good training camp, obviously he was going to be a major part of their offense. They built an entire game plan around him because
none of which has intermediate routes, but whatever.
Because Rashee Rice was suspended. And look, he's been an ultimate. He's been a dog. We ain't got to worry about his mentality. But sir, that was not an ethical tank job by Xavier Worthy. That was unprofessional. Like, what are you doing? It was, guys. If you think it was bad, I want to tell you it's worse. Like, it's so bad that they handed this man. They're like, you know what? We're going to get him in rhythm. And you can tell what coaches are trying to do on certain plays. We're like, hey, you know what? We're going to get him in rhythm in the second half. We're going to flush that first half. We're going to get this man an end around where we're going to hand him the football, get his juices flowing, get him in rhythm. He's going to help our quarterback get to like 2nd and 6 at least, right? Nope, he's going to run right. Like almost like he was Isaiah Pacheco. He's going to run right into the reigning defensive player of the year. For 0 yards. Sir, your whole game is speed, and where was it? Like he was so bad. It's the first time all year I just said, because I thought he really showcased something when he was clearly hurt. and he played through it, and he was on the field, and I was like, maybe he's a liability because he's hurt, and still had really impressive snaps late in the comeback win against the Indianapolis Colts. And I said, you know what? He's pushed through. He is a gamer. He is a grinder. He's got the right mentality. Yes, the season was a disaster in terms of his development for a number of reasons. But you know what? At least I don't have to worry about Xavier Worthy. Guys, I'm worried. I'm really worried because I don't know what that was, Seth. That was like, it's your third string quarterback. Help him.
The big thing for me, if he's reached a point where he's just mentally shot,
get him off the field.
The point for me was when he opened up on, I think it was kind of a deep out or an intermediate out against the Titans. And he created some separation, got open, got the ball. I was like, oh, nice. I went back and looked at the all-22. You want to know how many more routes he ran similar to that? I didn't actually tally it, but it wasn't many. And I can understand being like, no, let's just have me run another, fade, because I weigh 105 pounds. And that's just not. And again, I don't think Worthy's shown, with what we've seen from Worthy the last 2 years, Worthy is a guy who could be, I think, utilized correctly, could be a solid number 2 option to really high end number 3 option. That's what he's shown so far. Mm-hmm. I think there's a ceiling for more, but like the sideline stuff, the field awareness stuff, like in terms of the Chiefs, like sending them, like, football team, and people should know this. Generally speaking, teams don't send people to like position coaches. That's on you. There's a reason why like people like Duke Manyweather and stuff have developed a really robust, clientele. Clientele and occupation. And there's a reason why you see some guys develop differently than others. The Schwartz brothers talk about this all the time with offensive linemen, and the same is true of wide receivers. Player development for individual skill sets is not something teams do nearly as much as people think. With the CBA and this is just how it is. I'm not saying they need to return to 2-a-days or whatever. Mm-hmm. With the way practice time works, you spend your time on install. Like, yeah, you're doing some drills and stuff, but mostly you're doing install and you're being coached up on how to run the scheme. There's a reason why Patrick Mahomes has, which by the way, Bobby is not Patrick Mahomes' quarterback coach. He's his trainer.
That's his trainer. You're thinking of Jeff Christensen, right? That's his quarterback coach.
Yeah, and that he has a quarterback coach, and most quarterbacks have a quarterback coach. Starters, backups. I will say, I don't know. I mean, a lot of receivers, they've got their own coaches. I would just say, if I'm Xavier Worthy, I hope he does take a look in the mirror in terms of his talent, because he does have talent. We've seen it. And really ask himself, okay, what are the ways? I've been in the league 2 years now. I've seen the ways that I can win. How do I further develop those? And situational awareness. He's a sharp guy. I mean, he seems relatively.
That's why it's so confounding, because he's smart. He has. The Chiefs were raving about how he was willing to pick up the offense faster than most, and that's even including, how they had to force feed Rashee Rice during his rookie season. So it's not a mental acuity issue, but it is. I don't know, man. It's something. But go ahead, Seth.
That's something to really think about, and it's the same reason. I mean, I understand he got really banged up, but that's one reason I wanted Rashee Rice to be on the field for these games. It's like, show me you'll run routes hard. Now, with Worthy, I haven't seen as much of that. But I think you've got. I don't.
You mean you haven't seen cause for concern about how hard he's running the routes?
About effort.
Yes.
I don't.
Right.
I just want to make some. It sounded like you were saying that you haven't seen Worthy running routes hard, which I think you're saying the opposite of. You haven't seen as many red flags on Worthy.
Yeah, and with Rice, I've seen a little, not a ton. It's looked more frustration based, but I've seen it. Whereas with Worthy, there's a little more situational awareness stuff, and the reality is he doesn't look like a better route runner now than he looked this time last year, and he's got the physical traits to do it. And that's where you just get to decide who you are in the league. Xavier Worthy could be the exact guy he is now and have a 10-year NFL career. And probably end up with 5,000 to 8,000 yards receiving, have a perfectly respectable NFL career, maybe a season or two where he flirts with a Pro Bowl. Like, that could happen. But that's like, I often talk about this, and I know we've gone far afield because we still haven't talked about Jeffrey Bass because I think you're going to make me mad again. But that's where I talk to people a lot about Travis Kelce, who people forget what a force he was physically that first year he came back. I'll never forget him catching that slant against Cincinnati in the preseason. And then I was just like, holy smokes. This is a guy who would take those quick wide receiver bubble screens and go for, 70 yards against Denver. Travis Kelce could have had a very good NFL career. Similar to, and he's kind of a knucklehead in other ways, Tyreek Hill could have had a very good NFL career based on talent alone. And some guys then Tyreek Hill became an awesome receiver in terms of spatial awareness, zone adjustments. Like, he put in, for all the other knucklehead things, and there's plenty of
always works.
He put in a ton of work. There's a reason Pat and Travis were like, that dude. Yep. Because he put in the work. Travis Kelce could have been a good player, maybe even a very good player. But, like, you don't become one of the best 2 or 3 all-time zone beating receivers without putting in hours and hours and hours. Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice got to figure that out, because both of them could have perfectly fine pro careers. Rashee probably with a higher ceiling. And that's where with Worthy, like, it's the sideline, dude. Like, you got to figure this out. And you're an adult, and he's always been, he's tough as nails. He'll take shots and come back. I'm like, good God, man, I'm worried about you. But, like, he's tough. He plays through stuff. He's done everything the coaching staff has asked him to do, but he hasn't really developed. Now, the other thing is, if you're the Chiefs, again, it's not pot shots, but someone's got to take the fall. And if it's not going to be Andy Reid, then it's going to be the wide receiver coach. Why aren't your wide receivers developing?
Again, I would also just add everything you said about, like, off-season coaching versus in-season team coaching, Seth. I'm not pushing back on any of that. But I have also seen with my own 2 eyes Steve Spagnuolo working on hand placement with young cornerbacks in OTAs. And we give Dave Merritt, and in my opinion, rightfully, we give Dave Merritt a ton of credit for developing cornerbacks. And I don't think that Brett Veach is just a god at cornerback evaluation and can't evaluate corners and running backs, or wide receivers and running backs.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near that cut and dried. I think if you give great coaches talent that they can work with, you're going to see at least the opportunity for development. They're not all going to be slam dunks. Eventually, not another pot shot here, but, like, Joshua Williams didn't hit the ceiling that Jalen Watson hit, despite Williams being a higher draft pick. There's intangible stuff. There's coaching stuff. It seems like Josh Williams has done his job as well as he could, and he did have an important season in this defense. But if you are able to give position coaches credit for that kind of development, and then you look around and go, man, it's been a long time since a receiver or running back has taken a leap or even a real step forward for this offense, I'm just wondering where that goes. Again, is there a talent acquisition problem? I don't know. I see Brashard Smith and Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, and I see some talented players who don't seem to be hitting their ceiling. Totally different scenario here, Seth. I know you wanted to talk about Jeffrey Bossa some. 2 tackles, one of them a solo tackle. What stood out to you when you saw Jeffrey Bossa on the field?
For 5 snaps.
Hey, Nate, leave me alone. Seth?
What stood out to me was he closed on a swing pass to a running back and closed fast enough that the running back dropped it. So that wasn't his tackle. I don't remember what play he had the tackle on, but he showed a little sideline to sideline speed a little bit. Now he wasn't a great athlete in college either, but he was an okay athlete for, he was kind of playing out of position at college as a Mike. He shows physicality, and he screams towards the ball, man.
Get ball. See ball, get ball.
See ball, get ball. And he seemed comfortable getting to the sideline. He seems comfortable with his assignments. He looked comfortable with that in the preseason. Great thing that they're developing him. That's awesome because they've got some questions about what they're going to do with the will linebacker spot next year. So you got to develop that guy. Let him get live snaps. So it was great to see. Wait, how many did Nate say?
Well, Nate was wrong. Nate said 5.
I had to double check.
It was 4.
See, like, this isn't serious.
He made a tackle on half of his snaps. If we do that for Nick Fulton, Jeffrey Bossa could have had 36 sacks on that pay, or 36 tackles. 36 sacks would have been a hell of a game.
Right.
Then they had a linebacker out there that I literally had to look up and whose name I can't remember now. 59?
Cooper McDonald. That's Craig's guy.
We gotta see what we got in the undrafted rookie.
I'm sure he's very smart. And look, if Craig likes him, fair enough. Okay.
I don't want to put too many words in his mouth. I've just been calling him Craig McDonald recently, so I don't.
McDonald is crazy.
I just don't understand this. This is the same stuff. I don't know what more there is to say about it. Like they've decided to do things the way they're doing things. It makes no sense to me. I might write a series called "Things I Don't Understand About 2025." And that would have to be a multi-part series. I don't know.
Look, we gotta see. Look.
No, I won't look. I won't.
Okay.
There's not much to see.
No.
Hey, it's not like Sean Payton was trying to run up the clock when he said, "Hey, boys, I see what the Chiefs are trying to do. They're trying to, game control, possess the ball, nickel and dime us down the field." Which means we just have to see these 21 snaps out of Cooper McDonald. We just have to. They're spraying us out and like a crap ton of bubble screens and RPOs and getting their quarterback out in space, with room to run on bootleg or rollout action. Boy, we can sure use some speed on the on the second level of the defense.
I don't. Again, that's going to be a
10-part series.
Yeah, like I don't understand because I genuinely feel like you could really go in depth and really like go towards the like every caveat. I'm gonna have like an italicized caveat at the beginning. I'm not saying this would have changed the season completely. I'm not saying I know more about football than Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, because I clearly don't. All of us combined times 100 don't. But it's weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing to do.
They made ethical tanking choices. Oh my God, he's tackled him twice. Get him off the field. Get him off the field. Oh, by the way, Chris, yeah, man, like ethical, right? You thought he moved, you moved. I mean, look.
Been listening to a lot of Luda.
Look, I'm just saying, if you were just to give them an extra set of downs, take more time off the clock for them to score points, ethical.
I can't believe I made an early 2000s rap reference, Nate, and you didn't even twitch. Good for you. Ethical tanking, I guess I get it, but like Drew Tranquill, who's had a better 2025 than he did 2024, you can save $6 or $7 million against the cap moving on from Drew Tranquill. And I like Drew Tranquill. He's kind of an attitude guy in the room, plays hard, but like they've got some snap decisions to make next year. And it would be nice to be like, I think we know what we've got in Bassa. Like, but maybe, I don't know, maybe from the Jaden Hicks experience, they're like, well, even when we play a guy a lot, we don't know what we're going to have in him in year 2. Maybe we'll just sit him a bunch. And so I genuinely don't know. Like the Jaden Hicks experience would be its own thing where I'm like, every now and then he looks good, but like, and every now and then I'm like, where are you going? Which, to be fair,
he played a little less than half the snaps against the Broncos for whatever that's worth.
But look,
you gotta make sure you run Brian Cook into the ground.
He's been healthy, so
you also gotta have Shamari Carter tackle skill position players in space and see if it ever changes.
Yeah,
When does he fly in there though? It's that's true. He has more. It's like the Willie Gates.
This show's never going to end if you don't let me throw to Travis Kelce. Seth, I just want you to know. I want you to know that you were like, we could do a 45-minute show today. That'd be great.
Shamari, wrap your arms around him.
Let's talk about Travis Kelce here briefly, Nate. We got the post-game presser from him, and he seemed like he was reflective. He played all but one offensive snap. that may have been Travis Kelce's finale at Arrowhead Stadium. What did you make of his day out there, and where we stand right now with potentially just one game of Travis Kelce left?
It's not really about him. For me, it's about everyone else reacting to him. And I hope people understand that this is somewhat hyperbolic, but there is some truth to it. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, they are begging this man, imploring this man to come back. I cannot emphasize that enough, that Chris Jones has been in this man's ear begging him to come back, and did so basically on the podium. I know you heard that, Josh. Please just give me one more year. As I told you guys this past Sunday, the conversation that he had with Clark Hunt, like, the organization once again is asking this man to give them one more year. And it's very fitting that he got the final introduction in the player introductions for Thursday's game. I asked him about, taking his time to really look at it, because, I understand he says, like, he pauses a lot, but, like, that was a legitimate, like, I'm just going to stand here for 2 seconds and, like, really take it all in. It is also hilarious that the two players that I think worked the hardest for Chris Oladokun are a 36-year-old tight end in Travis Kelce and a guy whose knees are somehow still functional in Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, they really could have had Kelce run a bunch of choice routes or a bunch of, like, routes in the intermediate area, and he honestly could have had like 100 yards. But the Chiefs chose to, like, and I understand it, with backup tackles, with backups to the backup tackles, I should say, with the ability of, like, having a guy play his first NFL start and Chris Oladokun, like, they chose the path of least resistance in trying to get the game to be manageable towards the end of the game. But, man, I mean, the Denver Broncos were terrified of this dude in the second half, which tells you kind of everything. Like, he's still extremely productive. Now you go back and forth between, like, is he retiring? Is he not retiring? Does he already know? I don't know if he really knows. Obviously, I would recommend people to watch the interview he had with Tony Gonzalez. I thought that was really well done by Amazon, specifically having someone who has been in his shoes in Tony Gonzalez. But my biggest takeaway was Andy Reid doesn't even want to acknowledge it, because I'm sure he's trying his best to get Travis to come back one more year. I asked the question, like, hey, bro, you've had to talk to Patrick about the idea of, like, playing against his teammates. And he wouldn't go near it.
His answer was, what?
I mean, he was like, who? I was like, come on, man.
The steakhouse owner, Patrick Mahomes?
My best friend? You're asking me if I want to play football with my best friend again?
The State Farm guy?
I mean, and I asked him, I'm like, he's been in your ear, right? Because it's not that hard to think that Patrick could be in his ear. So collectively, guys, the organization, the entire team is trying to convince this man, just one more year. Just one more year.
And we're once again going to force you to play 85% of the snaps. We're going to run the offense through you, even though you're not that guy anymore. We're going to place an unreasonable blocking burden on you, even though you're not as good a blocker as you were 3 years ago. Does that sound good? We definitely won't change up the offense, because
by the way, we kind of need you to take a hit in salary for, like, salary cap purposes.
Like, no, like, if I were Travis Kelce, well, you know what? We got plenty of time. Last day at Arrowhead. I wish Amazon had shown the introductions a little more, because, they didn't show a ton of it, and I get that. They usually don't. I bet that was a cool thing to see live.
It was.
You usually don't get a lot of chances to, and this is such a weird way of saying it, but I don't know a better way of saying it. You don't get a lot of chances as fans to really pour love into a player in an organic way, outside of, like, when they score a touchdown or when they this, that, and the other thing. So that's always a really cool thing. I watched the interview. Tony Gonzalez makes some good points about because I mean, and he wasn't trying to some people were like, he's trying to talk him into retiring. But with Tony G, you could tell he's just I kept coming back because I never won a Super Bowl.
Buddy,
you've won so much. What do you got?
Hey, he might have a roster spot next year if he wants it.
Tony still looks like he could go for 5 for 68 yards and a tutty.
We are going to need him to play 92% of the snaps, but
Tony looks
just
incredible.
a threat out there.
He looks in great shape.
That's why his career was why his longevity is so counter to by the way, ladies and gentlemen, his longevity is insane compared to every other tight end in the National Football history. I don't know what this guy did, but I mean, there are stats where you look up and you go, that's impossible.
Yeah. At 37, he was still just...
His final year, he was 37, which would be Travis Kelce's age 37 year next year. And Tony G played 16 games, caught 83 passes for 859 yards and 8 touchdowns.
That's awesome. And that's... anyway, it's cool to see an outpouring of love and all that stuff. But I do think Kelce's response to that was just he loves football. He loves it so much. And honestly, if I were the team, that would be the route I would go. Because his answer was because he knows once it's over, it's over. Which, to be fair, if you're Pat, be I don't know if you've heard of a Rob Gronkowski. But that said, I don't know if Kelce is interested in
camp. You can train on your own time.
Yeah, just stay in shape. We'll call you a
call. Yeah, we'll just give you we'll save a little bit of money in the salary cap sheet. We'll just give you a call.
That would be fun. I would enjoy that because Kelce, the thing that he said to Tony G was, I feel like I could play into my 50s if it were just Sundays. It would be really hilarious if for the rest of Patrick Mahomes' career, which is hopefully another 15 years, Travis Kelce came back and played 8 games. Or
he drives in for the last 8 Sundays. Yeah.
And then
Thursday night football, Monday night football, no Travis Kelce. He's not available.
Yep. Nope. And then finally, it just becomes, then 7 games, then 6 games. Then finally, call me if you guys make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'll come in, catch 7 passes for 48 yards with a touchdown. All of them will be on 3rd down, and then I'll go. That would be hilarious. I personally think, and I haven't said this, I would love to watch Travis Kelce play football again.
Of course.
He's an incredible player. Yeah. The thing he's playing jazz in a symphony. He's ad-libbing one of the most curated sports in the world. It's incredible to watch. I don't know if the Chiefs are capable of growing the way they need to as an offense with Travis Kelce in the building. And I mean that in terms of scheme, role, and leadership. Because everyone looks to Kelce for energy. Everyone looks to him for leadership. And if he's not there, someone's going to step up.
Or have to.
And they have to. And and then in terms of role, they are still asking him to kind of be that wide receiver 1 type. Now, I know the plan's been for Rashee Rice to replace that. So maybe they do have, maybe they pick high enough to, I keep hearing the name Tate. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about college ball.
He's an Ohio State wide receiver.
Ohio State.
That's all you need to know.
Oh, Ohio State. I've heard everything I need to hear. He's a wide receiver from
Ohio State receiver. Cool. Yeah. First round project. Let's go.
That's my official take. I'm going to try to get Brisco's guy in the draft guide just without, I don't need to watch it. I want every wide receiver Ohio State, my guy.
Yeah.
What? Yep. Didn't their wide receiver coach get a head coaching job somewhere? Clark, you can't offer that dude $8 million to come be a wide receiver coach. You can pay coaches as much as you want. Well, it's not like he just received a windfall of money or anything. So
yeah, I mean, hey, who's to say?
It's hard to say, but I would just say that's the one thing that would Travis Kelce, the idea of not seeing him play football again is painful.
Rough,
painful,
but my guy.
Genuinely,
they were chanting his name with a minute to go, and they're down 7.
Yeah, all-time Chief, right? Like on your list of Chiefs, and it's always tough because Derek Thomas was what he was, but I think it's Mahomes, Kelce. Like you just can't compete with 3 Super Bowls and the all-time playoff leader and everything. So I genuinely don't know, and I'm going to keep thinking about this because this is not a shot at Travis Kelce at all as a player. Everything he's meant for the city, like Mahomes called him like the ultimate chief. I agree. I don't know if I feel like everyone around Travis Kelce is letting him down a little bit by relying on him to be something that he's not quite anymore. He's so close to being that, and he's still that in flashes. I don't know.
Look, it's hilarious that to start a potential game-saving drive, hey, if they get in the end zone, maybe they'll do what the Seattle Seahawks did against the Rams and they'll go for 2 and try to win the game. But to start the drive, Seth, they said, you know who we should get the ball to first? Travis Kelce. And you know who we should get the ball to second? Travis Kelce. And you know, if we actually need a chunk gain, where do we go? Like, they just kept hitting the button. And again, he could have had, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, based on if they had the ball more often, based on the defense, if they actually ran a fully functional offense instead of, they gave a very vanilla game plan to Chris Oladokun to see if he could be a game manager, which I guess he's proven, yes, he's a qualified game manager. But if they had opened up the offense more, he could have had 100 yards. He was getting open all day. Even the one where he's diving and it's a missed shot, he's open, guys. It's just Chris Oladokun doesn't just quite put it where it needs to be because, this is his first NFL start. I mean, like, we're asking a lot, but it is hilarious to me that it's so easy for them to get like fans. The coaching staff, the entire system, the quarterback, of course, it's so easy for all of them to get like mesmerized by this man's talent that like it is the easiest thing they have in the offense. And yeah, growth will have to occur if he's no longer there. But again, why is Chris Jones just waiting for him in the tunnel? Like, why?
Hey, with a baseball bat, which I thought was really weird.
Bro, please come back. This can't be it. This can't be it. They're begging him once again. They begged him all last offseason after they lost Super Bowl, and they're going to do it all over again.
Well, this 45-minute show really outgrew its pan here today. Really outraised the bread. But that's what we do here on Only Weird Games. Only long shows, even very shortly after Christmas. I hope all of our families forgive us. We have all got other things to do, and we've got a little bit of a mini bye before Chiefs Raiders in Vegas. Man, I can't wait to talk to Nate about that trip when that comes around. That does it for us here, though. Today, I'll let Seth sob his final thoughts, then Nate can get us out of here. We'll be back on Tuesday, so hopefully something interesting happens this weekend. Or, Seth, if you could just write 5 or 6 stories the next couple days, I'd really appreciate it for Tuesday's show.
All I have to say, and it's important that our voyeurs and peepers and everyone who listens to this and watches this show know this. There is nothing in the world and nobody in the world, and I mean that is funnier than an annoyed Josh Brisco. Like, there's nothing funnier. People wonder why I'm constantly like, now part of that is because I'm the youngest sibling.
Yeah,
problem. Right. But like, man, nobody's funnier when he's annoyed than you, Josh. Like, you're just so and that's like a curse too, because like there's been times where like I realize like midway through I'm like, oh, he's actually mad. Oh, I wish I could stop, but if only there was something in my head that allowed me to honor boundaries being set by someone until they're
Yeah, no, I mean, Seth, the idea that I would ever expect you to self-regulate that at this point in our relationship is honestly an insult to me. I would never ask you to do anything, like have any restraint on that front. I love doing this podcast with you guys, and I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I hope everybody else did as well. And Nate, in fact, if you'd like to just read your favorite, maybe you want to read, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do a Christmas Carol together. Let's read it in its entirety. We could probably get through that in a couple of hours. I feel like that'd be great. Do a little cold read, table read of it.
I'll read some of my favorite passages from Love and Respect.
Oh, that's good. Let me see if I can find a Bible in here. I probably got one. All right, well, how about Calvin and Hobbes? Can I read some Calvin and Hobbes comics?
I was going to say Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 1.
Heard of it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, guys, it was a wonderful Christmas night, and I can't stop thinking about, if we're all guessing what's in Travis Kelce's head, my mind obviously went to the woman he is engaged to wed. Was that Taylor
Travis
Swift's
Kelce's
last-
engaged? To who? When did that happen? Are
Taylor
old
Swift-
bachelors off the market?
Oh yes, he's off the market, and there might be even bigger news ahead for this lovely couple. Did she walk?
That's irresponsible, Nate. You can't say that like you know. That is so irresponsible.
No, what?
Tucker's gonna have to make a graphic for the socials now.
Hey.
Well, fortunately, there's
Well,
no
she-
group of people that read incredibly into every word that gets spoken.
God, we're gonna get a Kelce Swift baby before we get 10 snaps for Brashard Smith.
Did she walk through that door in Arrowhead Stadium the last time?
Within the confines of a loving marriage.
I love it. Obviously.